Hello and welcome to this wonderful episode of the Video Creator Show. I'm your host, Grant, and today I'm talking with ScottieDTV. This is a channel that showcases the coolest cars on the web. He has over 126 million total channel views. He has an awesome website and an amazing history with classic cars, vintage cars, custom cars, trucks, just everything you can think of. And he's really made a living and an audience around these dope cars over the years. He's been on YouTube for over a decade, or about a decade, and that makes him an OG of the platform, which makes me very excited to speak with him. So, Scottie, how you doing today?
Outstanding, brother. How you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. I really am. I'm stoked to be talking with you. And so yeah, first things first. I noticed like you started posting videos quite a while ago, around 10 years ago, and they clearly started blowing up. You've kind of built a whole audience and platform around this. And why don't you tell me, like, take me back to the early days of your channel, and like, why did you get into this in the first place, and what was your strategy to get going initially?
I fought it for the longest time. When all this got started, I'd been in the mortgage business for like 25 years, brokering mortgages, doing finance, that kind of stuff. I was successful at it, but I hated it. And I had branched out to try some other things. And a friend of mine called me, like a dude that I've known all my life, Colonel Richard Hunter, calls me and says, hey, the kids are selling YouTube to Google. And Google's going to start paying people to do videos. And I was like, now this was 12 years ago. 12 years ago, May 17th, so we just had a birthday. And I said, oh, dude, I said, it's crazy kids with cameras. I'm not interested in that. I don't want, there's nothing going on there. So anyways, he keeps calling me, and he's making money. And he's calling me every month when he gets paid going, dude, I just got paid. And I was like, yeah, no, whatever. I'm glad. I'm 45 years old. Like I said, I'm a single guy, no kids, all that kind of a thing. So my lifestyle's always been haphazard, for a lack of a better term. But I wasn't I don't know anything about video. I don't know anything about nothing that goes with that. And I'm not 18 years old, and I'm not willing to run into a brick wall. And so how's that going to work for me, So he kept calling and calling and calling. And I'm not talking about every day. We're talking about over a year. And best friend, known him all my life since we've been 5. And so on Saturday, he calls me. And I look at the phone, and I can tell it's him, obviously, caller ID, and I don't want to pick it up because all I know, he's going to want to talk about YouTube. I don't have time for that, you know what I'm saying? Uh-huh. And so anyways, I do. I pick up the phone, and I talk to him, and out of frustration, I guess, I was like, after we'd talked, I don't know how long, I said, dude, okay, whatever. I said, I'll come up with something. So this was a Saturday, and on Sunday morning, and I'm not a morning person, on Sunday morning, I woke up at 8 o'clock, sat up straight in bed, and thought to myself, cars and cooking, and I'll call it ScottieDTV. And so I waited until a decent hour of, afternoon, and I called him. I said, hey, what if I do something like, these hot rods I got around me and cooking? And he called it ScottieDTV, and he was like, oh, that's awesome. You ought to do that. So you can go back and you can see the very first video of what I did. And I had no idea where it was going, nor did I think that I was going to make a living off of it. I did get this realization, like after because for a year, although I was fighting it, I was still paying attention to it. And I got the feeling in the beginning that somebody was giving me a TV station, and I thought to myself, what if one of my grandparents had got ABC or CBS, way back in the day when it wasn't a popular platform, when you could buy one of these small town CBSs for, no real money. And so that's how I looked at it. And so I started preaching to everybody I could once I got started that, hey, if it won't play on Fox at 8 o'clock at night, then don't do it in your video, because eventually that's how this is going to get. And so that's how it's gotten for most of us. There's still people out there that, the rules don't apply to. But anyways, I didn't know. I had no idea. And everybody makes it sound simple, but it took 2 years to get the first 1 million views. And for whatever reason, I was driven, and I'm really blessed, and I really think this is divine intervention, because I don't think that somebody like myself can do what I've been able to do by me, because I don't know anything about video. You understand, my passion is cars. It's not making videos. I that's just my platform. That's how I do it. That's how I show people. But as far as editing, that kills me. I just would rather stab myself in the eye as to sit around and edit for 8 or 10 hours a day. And I have to do that stuff to make the videos, because I'm one man that wears all these hats. So, anyways, yeah, I made videos. Everybody asks me all the time, what did you do? I made videos and I prayed. A lot of faith. The Lord was pushing me to do this, and He's given me a lot of opportunities to give Him the glory. And so, yeah, no, all I did is every day I got up and took one step after another, chased hot rods, chased my passion. And I tell people, I think that's the biggest thing, is you have to find your passion in this, because not everybody's going to be a rock star that's going to make $500,000 a month, or the crazy money that you hear some of these people are making. So you have to do it for another reason, and that's what I've always done. I always chase the hot rods. The money's always been there for me to be able to do that for the last 10 years, and so as long as it is, I'll keep doing it, and when it's not, I guess we'll call it an end.
Right on. And so with like all the views you've accumulated, I mean 126 million, that is a lot of views. So what ways have you monetized over the years? I'm sure like ad revenue is a big one. I know you also have your website, ScottieDTV.com. I know there's things that people can buy on there and whatnot, but can you walk us through like how you've monetized your channel over the years?
Every way I can. Every way I can. Again,
Excellent.
I looked at it in the beginning as owning a TV station. And this has been my fight. And no insult to the industry I cover, because I love those guys. Those guys are my family. The guys that build these cars, the girls that build these cars, they're my family. I love them to death. But most of them are creative as can be. Most of them can take a flat sheet of sheet metal and turn it into whatever you can dream. They can make cars fly. But when it comes to business, they don't care anything about it. And so that's been a struggle in this industry, is getting people to understand the value of a platform like ScottieDTV, or a YouTube platform, because it is more than a YouTube channel. And I address it professionally, and I seek advertisement anywhere I can. Now, I don't chase the dollar, and I think that's very important. In order for me to get up every day and do what I love to do, I got to get up every day and do what I love to do. I can't be doing it because somebody else wants me to. I tell people that when Guy shows up at a restaurant, that's the best pizza you ever had. Whether it is or it ain't, because the crew's there, right? They've spent the money. Production's going to happen, and it really doesn't matter if it's good pie or it's bad pie. We're going to shoot an episode, and I never want to be in that position. I never want to have to do something just for the money. I want to do it for the passion. I mean, the tagline is coolest cars on the web, and if we're not showing them that, I don't want to be showing them something. And it's gone deeper than cars, because now we show products. People are interested in that kind of a thing. So we'll do some, I don't want to call them commercials. You have to be careful. They're infomercials, we do some videos on cool things, Concept One pulley systems, things like that. We'll go out to these shops. And at the end of the day, all these videos that I make, and I never did them with the intention of this, but they're all commercials, right? At the end of the day, they're showing the builder, they're showing the tires, the wheels, the parts, the color of the car, the paint. They're showing all that stuff. And that may inspire somebody to go down to their local AutoZone and buy paint or buy oil or buy whatever. I don't know, So it's been a fight for me, and I've been blessed that I've had some good supporters. But yeah, no, brother, any way you can. I mean, personal appearance fees, it's hard for me to cover production cost on this stuff on my own anymore. I mean, if I'm going to an event, especially a newer event, I've got to have some help getting there. I got to have some hotels paid for. I got to have some, appearance money, if that's what you want to call it. But I've got to have some help, and it does, because back in the day, the way that YouTube pays AdSense, and I'll tell you right now, I wouldn't count on AdSense. If you're going to get into this, then figure out that it's bigger than YouTube and AdSense. because that is the most unreliable money that you'll ever find. You go back and
Yes,
you can
yes.
find, and one of the only negative videos I've ever made out of over 2,600 videos is when I got hacked. And I don't want to relive that, but I'll let you know. AdSense, it can get stolen from you, and YouTube wouldn't do anything to help you get it back. And so it's very
Right.
unreliable. The percentages change. There's no way to verify how much is really, you're getting a percentage of what. You're getting a percentage of what they tell you you're getting, right? There's no way to verify that. As long as I've been doing it, you call me an OG. I have an email I haven't had to use in a while, but other than that, I have no contact with YouTube. No contact with Google. I've never been to the university or done any of that stuff. It's all organic. And so when you see my success on YouTube, understand all that's organic too. I mean, it's not like YouTube placed me there. And they could take me away tomorrow for as little as I have compared to others. They could wipe me off tomorrow. So it's got to be bigger than that. And I tell people, really, there came a point probably 5 or 6 years ago where I started to look at YouTube as a storage device for me. As long as I've got that platform, then I can keep this going as long as I'm out getting support outside of YouTube, getting commercial support outside of that. So, everything you can. I mean, yeah, if you can figure it out, t-shirts and that kind of stuff, really, that doesn't make me any money. It probably loses money at the end of the day, because really, once I get back the money that it costs them to have the t-shirts made, then after that, why would they be sitting in a bin? If I can get somebody to wear one, here it is, go put it on, wear it at a car show for me. And you have to think that way. You can't be afraid now. And I'm never in a position where I can go out and destroy a car, nor I wouldn't want to. But you know what I'm saying? There's ways to get big time attention, give big prizes away.
Hmm.
I've never been able to do any of that kind of stuff. So I think a lot of my success again is a blessing from the Lord. But I think too, I've stayed accessible. You know what I'm saying? If you go to a Good Guys show or an NSRA show or come to the show I do in Pigeon Forge, you can walk right up and talk to me, and we'll talk about whatever you want to talk about. And I think that's where I've built my little fan base that I have been able to build.
Right on. And so, like looking at your backlog of videos, you said you kind of see YouTube as storage in a way. So kind of looking through your old videos, your biggest one is 1969 Camaro SS twin turbo supercharged nitrous, and the title goes on 15 million views. Was that like the first video that really blew up for you? Like, what was the first video that did super well that made you realize, hey, I can really make a living doing this?
It was never a video that blew up that made me realize that. I had the passion. Like I said, it took 2 years to get the first million views.
Right.
So there was no videos blowing up for the first 2 years. I remember having a video that got 6 figures, and I was doing backflips. And the thing is, big shout out to the Blown Mafia and Bradley Gray with the Camaro. But the Camaro had been out for a while, and nobody had really seen it outside of car shows. And so I went to a car show one day and ran into Bradley Gray, saw that car, and was like, dude, I will do whatever it takes to be able to shoot this. And back in the day, I didn't know I could disconnect my audio from my video. So I was shooting around background music so that I wouldn't get a strike against me for having copywritten music in one of my videos. So I waited all day, and finally 5:30, 6 o'clock at night, we end up shooting what you see there. And you see me chasing after the car, and it's nothing like what we do today, but that's how we did it. That's how I did it back in the day. And yeah, I blew it because, he smoked the tires, and it was on the other side of the building, and yeah, all these years later, I still kick myself. But man, I was a fat dude running through a parking lot after I'd been on the asphalt all day. I was doing the best I could. And so anyways, I shoot that video, put it together, and put it up, and 6 months later, it don't have 4,500 views on it. And I've got fans that are coming on there going, what is going on? This thing is crazy as it comes. The whole world's got to want to see this. Why does this video not have more views on it than it does? And I don't know. One day it hit, and it ran for years. And yeah, to get 15 million views, that takes time. And there was times that it was just, and when you have a video that blows up and stays up like that one did, then yeah, that helps build the channel quick. So yeah, no, a lot of big shout out to Bradley Gray and that Camaro and the Blown Mafia for giving me the opportunity. Him and I are like brothers now, and I've shot a lot of his other crazy stuff since then, but nothing's done what that's done. And now that I've shot that car. Yeah, no, that car's been shot. I don't know how many times now. It's all over the place. So, yeah, no, that was the first huge video. And people knew that video before they knew ScottieDTV or knew me, that's for sure. And, like I said, it was never a video that drove me to do what I'm doing. It was passion. Like I say, for 2 years, I mean, we were celebrating 100 new subscribers. That was a big celebration, and never thinking that we'd get to that 100,000 and get the play button and all that stuff. I sacrificed too. I worked the census. I did all kinds of crazy stuff at 40 some years old, just for the opportunity to be available to go shoot car shows on the weekend when it wasn't paying nothing. People didn't know what I was doing. There was a time when I started that because of the age of the content that I cover, those people would run if I told them it was going to be on YouTube, because they thought of YouTube as, again, skateboarders and stuff like that, crazy kids with cameras. This was that far back. And so I got to the point where I just told them it was a web channel. I didn't have a website or nothing. I just was like, yeah, no, it'll be on the internet anywhere you'll be able to see it anywhere you go. It'll be cool. You'll like it. But I wouldn't tell them it was on YouTube. Because I had a lot of people go, they'd walk away, they, I don't want to be on that. And they thought I was going to make fun of them, or I was going to do something stupid. And no, it was all I ever wanted to do was be a positive influence on the industry. And this seemed like, I live in the South. So, I did realize, I haven't always lived in the South, but I did realize when I got down here that not everybody has 55 Chevys and 69 Camaros sitting at traffic lights on a Tuesday, and they can be too deep down here. And so that was my passion anyhow, was the crazy custom stuff and hot rods and those kind of things. So that's what I started filming. And the food didn't, the food was fine, but I'll be honest with you, the food was personal. You know what I'm saying? You lay your heart into making food, and I love food. And when you get done, you got people picking it and slamming you and picking your kitchen apart and all that stuff. And it just the hot rods didn't come with that. And the stuff that did come, because there's a lot of trolls, nevertheless, I take it down. I'm very, I'm very strict when it comes to that. None of these people let me shoot these cars to have somebody come in here and tell them they hate the wheels or this is stupid or that's stupid. I just don't need that kind of stuff. It's not about not getting your voice heard. This is not the platform for that. Everybody has one of these cars. They all think of them as their baby. They're all expensive. They're all, a lot of hard work, and a lot of it's not my style. And so I try to appreciate all I can, and the stuff that I don't appreciate, I appreciate the fact that the guy that built it does. And so give him a pat on the back and send him on your way. Who cares if you wouldn't paint it that color? So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so leading up to YouTube, I think it's always interesting to hear people's backgrounds before they start posting online, because a lot of people, before they start a channel, they feel like, they need a certain amount of experience. And I know you said you had 0 experience making videos before you even started this. But I do find that even seemingly unrelated experiences can actually prepare you for YouTube. Just anything that requires a certain amount of discipline or dedication can just help prepare you for, being on YouTube. It can help prepare you for anything, really. So, what was your life like before YouTube? I know you said you worked for the census. I remember you saying in one of your videos you have a military background. Can you kind of fill us in on some of the, formative experiences that perhaps indirectly prepared you for the online life?
Sure. Well, nothing can prepare you for the online life. Okay. I mean, nothing can compare you for living your life in front of the camera. That part of it, I can't tell you anything about that. But I can tell you about the road that got to where I was able to put something together, a presence for YouTube that people seem to enjoy. I started out in Toledo, Ohio. Born in '66, Toledo Hospital, graduated Whitmer High School. So anybody from that area, there's your shout outs. And grew up in a motorhead family. Everybody was into cars. Everybody was into snowmobiles and motorcycles and all that kind of stuff. And grew up poor. But the one thing that we were able to hustle cars. And so we always had nice cars if we didn't have anything else. I grew up in a house that was a converted 2-car garage into a house, and 3 of us, me, my mom, and my dad. So that was that. And there wasn't a lot of opportunity when I graduated high school in the mid '80s, and so I went to the military. And I'm a patriot, and so that's something that I'd always wondered if I had the guts to do, is actually sign that contract and be willing to sacrifice my life for my country. And I was, and went through. I tell people that I'm very proud of my service, like a lot of people that did it, because it was hard, and it wasn't a career move for me, and I'm a big patriot today. But it was something that I was glad that I did, and I had the opportunity to do, and I did it under Ronald Reagan, so it was a good time to be on the military. And after that, got married, and was married for 10 years. Didn't have any kids, but ended up getting divorced. And like I said, I've always, I tell you a story. I was in the mortgage business for in finance for 25 years, and just had no college education, didn't go to school. Went to the Army to get money to go to school. When I got out, they made me jump through so many hoops that I told them, don't worry about what I told them. But I ended up cashing out that deal and not going to school, and I'll do it on my own, kind of a thing. And ended up getting some breaks that allowed me to get into finance. And so I guess what's funny about that is there was times when I had to document houses and real estate and this and that for people that were out of state buyers or whatever. And so I used the video camera to do that, and I talked to them about it, what I was showing them. So eventually that's kind of how I did the thing with the cars. But I just had the passion. I had one video class back in the day when you cut actual film and edited it that way back in high school. Me and a buddy took that class. Actually, the guy that got me into YouTube, we took that class together because it was the only class we could take together. So we wanted to take a class. We weren't in the same year, so we wanted to take a class together. That's how we ended up doing that. So that's the absolute maximum video experience that I had. And the military, you better be 2 years to get the first million views, guys. You're not going, unless you're placed there by YouTube or you have some kind of background, you're not going to roll out and just make a big hit. Everybody in the world's got a camera now. So you have to have the ability to keep going. And so the military gave me that portion of it. They told me that, as long as I could muster 7.5 pounds in my finger, I could keep squeezing the trigger. And it may not save my life, but it might save my buddy's life. And so I always lived life that way. Keep squeezing the trigger, keep squeezing the trigger. Every day, get up, squeeze the trigger. It doesn't matter if you're down, and so you need that as far as doing this type of business. But, you have to be very confident. I don't know where that came from. That's something I've never had an issue with. So, if you get on here and you think, you're soft-skinned or whatever, it's going to be a tough life for you, And then I'm easy to find, right? My schedule is on the internet. People know what shows. We publicize where we're going to be. It's part of what we do. So, if you don't like me, you can come find me. And so people have done that. And luckily, more people come to give me moonshine and hugs than they do to do that, to tell me they don't like me. But sure, that stuff has happened. So there's I think everybody, not just me, but everybody, wherever you're at today, every day before that has put you where you're at and made you who you are today. So, go back to, I was 5 years old in a body shop painting Tonka trucks. And I don't have any ability to do any of this stuff today, but what I can do is get in front of a camera. And I have the ability to talk, and large crowds don't scare me. And so, I have those natural, abilities, or the abilities to do that. And when it all comes together, you end up with ScottieDTV.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of amazing how like your life can kind of build up and help produce this thing that seems kind of unrelated to everything you've been through, but turns out it was all still really useful. Like the kind of military discipline makes sense, and I get it. I totally get it. And so now that you have this channel and your life clearly is very different than before you had it, can you walk us through a day in the life? I know you go to a lot of car shows, obviously. You said your schedule's online, but like, what does an average day look like for ScottieDTV? Like, you wake up, do you like spend a lot of time editing? Do you not spend much time editing? Do you like your chill time? Do you wake up late? Do you wake up early? You said you're not a morning person. Take us through a day in the life.
Yeah, I don't want to take you exactly through one of my days. But yeah, there's a difference between the days I'm shooting video. And again, I tell people it's not all barbecue and hot rods. I wish it was. When you see me at a show, I'm working. You know, I get people all the time, Scotty, I want to go to a show with you. I'm like, I'm the last person you want to go to a car show with. It's like, why? I said, well, you want to go hang out with Kiss when they're putting on a show? They're working. So they're working so you can have a good time. And when I'm at a show, I'm working my tail off. So I have content. I have puzzle pieces. That's the other thing I want people to understand. When I'm there, I have no idea if I'm going to have everything I need when I get back to the editing room. And as I stated before, I hate editing. So I shoot, and throw away. It's better to have more than not enough. And so, yes, when I'm at a car show, most of the time we're getting up early and having to work late and very little sleep and traveling and all that kind of stuff. So that's the life of a rock star thing. And when I'm at home, then yes, I like to work late and sleep late. So I'm up till midnight, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, editing videos and making videos. And then, I get up 9:30 in the morning, 10 o'clock, and start my day. Because, I'm not a morning person. I hate editing. And, and as simple as the editing I do, it's still, you're looking at probably an hour and a half for every minute of video you see, just on the editing side. So, a 10-minute video, you're going to have 15 hours in that. And you can get some other things done while you're doing that, but you're going to have 15 hours that you're going to have to dedicate to doing that. And so, and it kills me. I have ADHD, and so sitting at this desk and paying attention to all that little detail stuff, it drives me nuts. But so that is really a day in ScottieDTV. Yeah, administrative stuff. Nobody knows about this if you're not telling them about it. So, it's all the social media work. It's all that kind of stuff. And then keeping all your contacts, it's funny because I know a lot of people think like I show up at a show and just people line up their cars and, I shoot them at will. And that's not, I hunt hot rods. Every show I go to, I'm making new contacts and I'm chasing cars down and I'm keeping track of who's got what coming and where it's going to come out at, because I'd rather be there when it first comes out than I would want to be number 10 to shoot it. And a lot of this stuff, I've got myself in a position to where I can get to it before it even comes out, before, we can unveil it. So yeah, it's not the part people see, that part's the fun part, except for the travel has gotten monotonous at this point. But the being out with the fans at a car show and shooting the video and talking to the people and, getting good content, that's the fun part. And then the rest of it is, 9 to 5 stuff, guys. It's business like anything else. It's when somebody does buy a t-shirt, there's a whole process to, processing that and getting it packaged and getting it sent out and all that kind of stuff. And so it's not what you see on MTV. It's not what you see, it's not the final product. I get people that are like, show me behind the scenes stuff, Scotty. And I tell them, you don't want to see that. Some days that's me pulling my hair out. Some days it's, me sleeping. That's the other thing I had to allow myself, especially the older that I get, is that when I get a break, then if you're tired, take a nap. And if you can, and you can get rested, because when you're working, when you're at a show, that show is Friday and Saturday, and they ain't going to reschedule it, and there won't be another one until next year. And so if you want to shoot that event, that's when you got to be there to do it. And so you can't be tired at that point. And So yeah, no, I think a lot of people, they think that when they see me at a show and I'm out and yeah, that's the work and that's the fun part. That's the performing part. All the other stuff that's in the background, and it's no different. You were asking earlier about monetization and how to make a revenue. All that works into my everyday too. You know, trying to figure out new ways to do that and give the sponsors that I already have value for what they're doing for me. Right? I mean, I think that a lot of people are like, oh, yeah, you get these big sponsors, and after that, they just throw money at you. No, I'm very careful in that I don't take sponsors I don't think, A, that I can do something for, but B, that I think is going to be a pain in my day. If they are too intense, if they're too worried about the money that they're spending, then I don't have time for that either because I'm a one-man show. And somebody can ruin your day by just calling you up and asking questions that show they don't believe in where their money's going. You know what I'm saying? And I never want that. If you think you're getting taken, here's your money back. No, I don't never want that. So, and I tell people that, and I've had sponsors I've had to let go on my end and just tell them this isn't, obviously it's not working for you. And so, let's just stop where we're at and you can go spend your money somewhere else that you feel you get more value. So there's that whole business responsibility to it when you're going to get to it. There was a whole part of it that was a lot more fun that first 2 years before anybody really knew what I was doing. Because I could get in and I could get out and nobody knew what I was doing. Really, I was just some idiot stumbling around with a camera at that time. And now there's a whole, taking care of your fan base. When I'm at a show, that's the best opportunity they have to be able to talk to me and take a picture with me and ask me what they want to ask me. And so you can't be so focused on working and getting more video that you don't take time to talk to them. You won't. And again, sometimes you don't have time because you're running a deadline down yourself. You've told this car to be here at this point at 1:30, and here it is 1:29, and you got 2 minutes to get there. So you can't. But any time that I can, then I sure want to do that. So again, I think that whatever your interpretation of business is, and it's not, it's business. It's not. I don't have to worry about it. I do have to worry about it. Especially now, gas is like $5 a gallon, and hotel rooms, cheap hotel rooms, $200 a night. So I have to make sure that I have the money to do that, because again, the only reason people like what I do is because of what I do. If I quit doing it tomorrow, there'd be no more sponsors. There'd be no more, none of that. So you lose one, it's a domino effect. The rest of it goes away too. And I think that that's important to make sure that you never live above your means when it comes to this, because it can all go away tomorrow. It doesn't show up fast, but it sure leaves fast. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, ain't that the truth? Like, it's kind of weird how quick things can be to not like disappear, and I don't want to be dramatic here, but I mean it's like the old saying, it's hard to create something, it's easy to destroy something.
Right.
And there's a lot of patience that goes into building something like this. And then, it can also be like if the algorithm changes or, the economy crashes and sponsors are less likely to spend money on YouTube channels. Like there's a lot of sort of external factors that can kind of make it harder to operate on this platform. And that those are things that, we as people on YouTube have to be aware of for sure.
And let me say too is that you're right. The economy and what's gone on in the last couple of years has really been a mess. But for the longest time, I think an awakening moment needs to be to people that unless you've got a way to build an audience, don't expect I'm holding up quotes when I say partner YouTube to provide that for you or to help you do that. Because they're busy with their people, you know what I'm saying? They're really busy with their people. Unless you can come in and make some kind of huge splash, then you're not going to get their attention. And without their attention, it's really hard especially now, I think, man, I've been doing this for 12 years. How much more video time is up in the last 12 years? How many more platforms are there to share stuff, from TikTok to Instagram to all that kind of stuff, where and there's only so many minutes in a day, right? So I mean, it's a business, guys. If you're wondering, it's a business, and a very public one, that you live in front of a camera a lot of times.
Mm-hmm. And can you take us through the sponsorship process? So, like, do sponsors come to you? Do you reach out to sponsors? How do you decide if someone's going to be a good fit? I know you said that if you don't feel like the sponsorship is going to fit with the channel, and that maybe you're not going to give the sponsor as much as they would like, then you're not going to go through with it. But like, what does that whole process look like on your end? Because I think a lot of people, they don't really know what goes into making these, you know, little commercials or pitching a product on YouTube. It's sort of mysterious. So if you could kind of lift the curtain for us, that would be awesome.
I wish I could, because I don't do unboxings and things like that. You'll find very few videos that I will do that way. If in the sponsorships go both ways, in that if I find something, a product or a shop or whatever, that I think I can really work well with, I will pursue them and let them know, hey, check me out, dude. You know, I think we can work together. But I have people that come to me from the other side too, that know what I am and what I'm doing, and make me aware of what they're doing. And we sit down and we talk. I don't have millions of sponsors coming, you know, so it's not that hard to keep up with. The ones that do come with me, I guess I do have more than I'm leading on, but a lot of them get washed out in the beginning, and that, you know, no, that won't work. You know, I mean, you know, it doesn't have anything to do with my channel, or even it's a car issue, but it's not the right era. It's not, those people that like those cars don't like the kind of stuff that I show, so you're not going to get the kind of exposure that you want. And you know, once we get to that point, I get a lot of people that want an ad sheet, or they wanted me to give them some kind of pricing through the email, and I won't do that. If you're not serious enough to sit down and talk about it, then let me know when you are, because that's a whole time sponge that I don't have to deal with. And again, none of this is about money to me. As long as there's enough money to make the next show, that's what I'm going to do. And so, yeah, it's, you know, I mean, the sponsorship end of it is very hard, taxing, emotionally draining. It's the worst part of the business, because it's the business, right? It's the business. You can go do whatever you want to do, but if you can't find some way to pay you to do it, you can't call it a business. So the business end of it is the business, and there is no secret to it. If you've ever gone out and tried to get sponsorship, or you tried to sell your mom on buying you an Xbox or whatever, it's that all the time.
Same
you
idea,
know?
Same idea.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing. So a little kid, if you know, I mean, if you don't like trying to sell mom on buying something that she can't afford for you, then, you know, that's what it's like. And then once you do get the sponsorship, you've got to keep it. You know, and sometimes that's more taxing than chasing it down. And there also comes a point when you're spending more time working on trying to get the sponsor than he's ever going to pay you. So you have to cut him loose there. And again, this is probably not sound business advice. It's just, I do this for the passion, brother. I don't, you know what I'm saying? None of this, never did I start out for this to be a business. I didn't think it would be a business. I just kept doing it as a business. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I tried a lot of other stuff out, you know, on my own that didn't work. And so, yeah, you know, I mean, this one wasn't costing me an arm and a leg. It was a deal where I enjoyed going to the car shows. Went to a lot more when I started doing this than I had been going to. And so it was, you know, like I said, it was gas at the time. And, you know, it wasn't all this traveling to Vegas and all that kind of stuff that we do now. It was gas at the time. And you could get away with that. But now, yeah, everywhere I go, and value. You know, that's the thing too, is that on the other side, if I go and make a video for somebody, they have to understand that they've got to do their end with that video. You can't just expect me to go put it up on my platforms and me to push it on my end. You have this tool that you've bought, more than me just putting it out to the world. Now you go put it out to the people that have been following you. Because with me, you're getting a third-party endorsement, and that is the big plus. I mean, if you ask me about like you are today, I'm not telling you any of the bad things about ScottieDTV. But if I can get somebody else to come along and say all these good things about ScottieDTV, well, that's got more value than me telling you about it. And so that's the advantage that we can bring. And I think all this is unique. I don't know that how you would market a makeup channel. You know what I'm saying? I don't think any of this is one size fits all. You have to know your industry. You have to have into that industry. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I can't get money from Jegs if I don't know anybody at Jegs. I can't get money from Chrysler unless I know somebody at Chrysler. The first thing is, if I want money from Chrysler, I got to go figure out how am I going to meet somebody from Chrysler. And yeah, you could go through the marketing department and all that kind of stuff, but trust me, really what you want to do is meet the guy that knows the guy. And now we're talking, because now you can sit down with him and pitch your channel or pitch what you're doing and say, hey, look, I'm sincere. Because that's the other thing, is people do business with people. So when they sit down and meet me, then yeah, I may look like, I'm not the best kept all the time, but there's a lot of, I'm proud of my look. When I go in somewhere, I'm confident in the way I look. It may not be the way they're dressed. I may be in t-shirt and shorts, or I may be in a hoodie and jeans, but at the end of the day, I'm confident in the way that I look. So I think that, that's how you do it, is sit down and figure out who can I benefit and go after them and try to figure out ways to meet those people. And, with me, again, the industry is accessible to me, but it always hasn't been as accessible as it is now. Now, sure enough, I know somebody that knows somebody about every level of this business, but I had to work all that out. I had to chase that. I had the knowledge from growing up around a body shop and painting my Tonka trucks, that, the passion. But I mean, when I started, I didn't have a lot of these contacts that I have now. I just like cars. I like custom stuff, and went out and made these. And so, yeah, I think that's important too, is to, if this is what you think you want to do, figure out the business before you actually even turn the camera on. Even if you don't have everything you want to have to make a video production, think about when I make this, how can I make that video make me money? What can I do to make that? Because you're going to have money in every time, right? Every time you click that camera, every time you leave the house, every time you turn on the internet, there's an expense to all this. None of this is free. That's the funny thing is, right? The consumers all think it's free. On the other end, never expect anybody to be sold when you walk through the door, because it's free. I mean, here, let me show you on my phone. I can watch whatever I want, do whatever I want. But to every piece that's out there, to every website you go to every click that goes to a good location, there's people behind the scenes working to make sure that happens. And if you want to be part of that, that's the important stuff. I mean, on top of having to have some kind of ability, some kind of way of entertaining people and getting their attention and having them support you, you've got to be able to put the business side to it too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's that's the tricky balance with YouTube, I think, is the business versus creativity. But clearly, you've got your process down, it sounds like. And there's
no process, brother. It's fluid. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you want to sum all that up for you, there is no process. It's fluid. Today, I may be watching TV, and there may be a new product that comes out on one of the channels I watch. And I'm like, till next 2 weeks from now, I'm in Illinois, and I go to a car show, and I walk by, and I see it's that product. And I think to myself, hey, I'm going to go over and meet these guys. Hey, I saw your commercial, this, that, and the other thing. I'm ScottieDTV. And see if there's a pitch there. See if I'm saying, first of all, I have to make sure their product is legit. So that's the first thing, is going over there and talking to them. And a lot of times at this point, that resorts into, hey, Scottie, try this stuff. And so if I try it and I love it, then I'm like, hey, I really liked your stuff. Why don't we work together on something? And work together on something is code for you're going to have to start paying money now. Because you can only use so much free wax, right? You can only use so much free soup or whatever it is they're willing to send you as far as product. There's got to be a cash. You can't go put that in a gas tank. So again, I don't
Right.
know. To sum it up, dude, I don't have a process. Every day in my life for the last 12 years has been very fluid because I have no direction. I mean, there again, you're taking the logical standpoint that I had a plan for all this, and I didn't have a plan for all this. I never expected it to be where it's at. I never thought anybody would be wanting to sit down and have me tell you how I've done something over the last 12 years or have, when you rattle off those numbers, can you, I don't know, maybe you can, and maybe I just can't. I cannot literally wrap my mind around how many 125 million is. Right? I mean, a
No,
million's a
I don't
big
know if
number,
anybody
brother.
truly can.
A big number. A million's a big number. And we're talking 100 and
Yeah.
125 on its own. I'll take that in cash any day in my pocket. You put the two of them together, that's just, and I know there's people out there have billions of views and this and that, but there gets to a point in the YouTube thing where you can't wrap your mind around it anymore. I could the first million, you know what I'm saying? That's in perspective. That was still something that I could grasp. But at 50 million, man, I started to realize I can't imagine how many 50 million people is. I can't perceive that. I can't see 50 million. And I dang sure can't see 125 million or 200,000 people And again, guys, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. Them subscriber numbers, I've done nothing. All that is organic. 217,000 or whatever it is what YouTube says I have. But not every one of those gets notified every time I put a video up. And then you fight the whole YouTube thing where they unsubscribe people from your channel for some reason and they have to re-find you again. So I don't get so tied up in that, especially since I can't wrap my mind around either number anymore. I know that that's a good selling point to potential advertisers, but again, it's got to be about the passion. It can't be about chasing those numbers because those numbers don't mean anything to anybody but you.
Definitely. And I did notice on your channel you have live streams. They're under the playlist past live streams, sort of implying that they are a thing of the past. But how has live streaming been different for you than making videos? I mean, obviously they're live, but do you feel like you interact with your audience in new ways? Do you feel like you're able to express yourself differently using live streams? Tell us about your experience with those.
So again, I'm slow to the party, and I'm one of these people that keep cell phone so the thing won't work no more. And so 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago, I'd gotten to that point and got a new phone. I was down at cruising the coast and started playing around with getting to my ScottieDTV Facebook page through my Facebook app. And then the next thing you know, I was like, oh yeah, I know you can do live videos. I'm down here at the yacht club, this and that, let me see how this works. Well, the next thing you know, bam, I'm live on Facebook and it's working. And it doesn't come with a hitch. I'd done it before, but in the past I got crappy video and it just didn't flow right. It just, it was junk. And being a video channel, I didn't want the first impression of people to be somebody that has junk video. So I hadn't messed with it in a long time. I got this new phone, and so, anyways, that's how the Facebook or the live started happening. And so, yes, it does. Okay. So you're not going to be able to monetize that video, or at least I'm usually not able to monetize those videos because they have background music in them. And a lot of times anymore, Facebook will shut you down and keep chopping you until you can get past the copywritten music that's in it. But what it does do is draw attention to the channel. And so that's one of these things that you have to realize that it's not all about money. It doesn't get to a point where everything becomes about, what am I going to get paid to do that? So you have to do some marketing for yourself. So the Facebook and the YouTube Live, I don't do YouTube Live actually. Outside of a place where I can be with my laptop computer. I won't do it over my phone. My YouTube account has nothing to do with my cell phone. Like I said, I got hacked and had thousands of dollars taken from me, and YouTube's dusted their hands of me like. And their exact quote was, "We wouldn't want to tell you what to do next." So that was the answer I got from YouTube when I did talk to somebody. So I'm real skeptical about hooking that up, and they got to me through my cell phone, so that's the big deal there. And so I do YouTube. I do some after hour lives where I'm in a shop. I think that's really cool because yeah, you're able to sit down with somebody, and you're not. In my case, I'm not showing them a feature. I'm showing them the people behind the feature. But yet people can show up and ask questions and see, the two of us just hanging out after hours. And so those episodes I've been able to put together, I've really enjoyed doing them. And I think that it's a cool thing to your hardcore fans. The live stuff that I do at a car show on Facebook and stuff now, I think that is it's a big draw for the channel. I think and Facebook likes that you're putting live stuff on, so that's always good. And then for the fans too, it takes them actually there live. Now going back to sponsorship opportunities, when that opened up to me, then I realized I was in the same situation as a hang on one second.
Mm-hmm.
Settle down. A boxer's winding up. So I'll go back.
As dogs do.
Yeah, I'll go back. So then I realized I was in a situation where I was able to do live remotes, where I was able to give a call to action. Hey, party, 8 o'clock tonight at DoubleTree on Beach Boulevard. And so when I realized I was able to roll down Beach Boulevard in the Mustang, telling people about this party we were going to, and then 2 hours later, the place was just slammed, right? I mean, turn it off. Don't do no more of that. So that was cool. And that is something you can take to the bank. That when you can do that and you show people that you can bring people in, then you're as valuable as any live remote that you would get, at a car lot or whatever they do for live remotes for. So yes, it has. It's changed things in a big way, mostly in that it increases my arsenal. And so anytime you can do that, that's always a good thing. And it's not hard on me, right? So I hit the record button and I walk through and I do this 20-minute video where I talk to my friends and this, that, and the other thing. I don't have to go back to the hotel. I don't have to edit it. I don't worry about the background music. I really don't care. Except for that I turn out something entertaining and I give people a good view of the show or whatever it is I'm trying to show them. But you see what I'm saying? Once I hit the stop button, I'm done. When you see me shooting this stuff for YouTube at a show, that's the work's just beginning. Now I got to go back and edit all that up and do voiceovers and all that kind of stuff. And, with the live stuff, when it's done, it's done. I can go to dinner and it's still working for me. That was the other thing, too, I realized early was the reason Hollywood has all the money is because they only made Gone with the Wind one time. And yet today, people are still making money off Gone with the Wind. Somebody today is making money off Gone with the Wind. So much that years ago they went and colorized it, right? So again, when you can make a product, when you can do something today that's going to pay you tomorrow and the day after and the day after and the day after, and tomorrow you can do something different that's going to pay you tomorrow and the day after and the day after, then you can start to accumulate some revenue. And so that was another deal where I realized the business side of this was, well, that's why Hollywood's got all the money, I mean, they made Top Gun one time, baby, and they've been showing it gazillions of times since then, just making bank all the time. And they never have to go back and reshoot it. They never have to repay the actors again. It's done. They paid all their expenses, and now it's just pure profit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, or they make a sequel, or just kind of piggybacking off of the fame that has already accumulated around a franchise.
And see, that's something else you bring up too. The change with the Facebook is, right? So now, the Facebook Live, I'll do that over my phone. So I do that on my Facebook page, and now I can go back to the hotel, take that Facebook Live video, download it over to my YouTube channel, and cross-advertise those. You see what I'm saying? So if you're wanting to follow me and see this live, then you have to follow me on ScottieDTV Facebook. But if you don't care, then you can see it in repeat 3 hours later. Well, the guy that was at the show, that his buddy goes, hey, you're all over Scottie D's video, goes back to YouTube and says, oh, yeah, there the video is, and they watch it there. So again, I'm not making any monetization on it, but I am getting attention for it. So that's how I use those live videos now.
Right on.
And that's that
Well,
cross advertising you're talking about. That's how, making platforms or making it so that you have to go do one to do the other. And it just happens to be convenient for me to do that. I'm not trying to put my fans out. It was actually a bonus. I figured out I could download that Facebook video and put it on YouTube, that it made it available to them. And so then, like I said, unless you were watching it live, once that video ends, 45 seconds later, it doesn't matter if it was 45 seconds later or 45 days later, you can still watch it back. So.
Absolutely. Well, we are almost at the 1 hour mark. Scott, why don't you tell people where they can find you, pitch all of your awesome, cool stuff?
ScottieDTV.com. That is the best. And I tell people, the other thing is with this YouTube stuff, get yourself a .com. That's the only thing I own. That's the only thing I own. That YouTube, I don't own that YouTube. Yeah, it's ScottieDTV, the YouTube channel I do, but they can shut me down tomorrow. They can, they can cancel you tomorrow. That .com is what you always want to be building. It's that .com. We're on all the platforms. We're on Twitter. We're on Instagram. We're on YouTube. We're on Facebook, all under ScottieDTV. SCOTTIED as in dog, T as in Tom, V as in victory. But if you go to the .com, you'll have all that. The nice thing about the .com too is that all the videos are in chronological, you know what I'm trying to say, order, not sound like Biden, but chronological order, and you can scroll down. So the one I put up today or yesterday will be at the top. There's also a search box. So out of 2,700 videos we have now, if you just want to see the 69 Camaros, you can use the search box and just put 69 Camaro or 1969 Camaro, and it'll just pull those videos up. And so, if you see me out at a show, like I tell people, unless I've got that camera on, then come up and say hi. I'll be glad to meet you.
Right on. Well, there you have it, everybody. ScottieDTV. And thank you so much again for joining me. I appreciate you taking your time to tell me about your awesome YouTube channel and showcasing all these dope, amazing cars over the years. And congrats on your success here. And I'm glad things have worked out so well for you.
No, thanks so much for having me, brother. I really appreciate it.
All right. Well, that is a wrap. I will see whoever you are watching in the next one. Bye, everybody.